All right, there we go. Welcome to the Hip Hop Hustle podcast. I am extremely excited about my next guests. That's right, we got two. It's a duo come through, the one and only, the twin Kingz. For those of you that aren't aware, two albums this year, which is really pretty impressive, I got to say. She Made Heaven Fall and Froze Summer. I had to make sure that there's like an and in there. But yeah, incredibly privileged to have you both on the show. One of the two people in hip hop who are pushing the boundaries in terms of lyricism, sound, and just really trying to get yourselves into the main conversations. I mean, you guys both have the ability to do it. So yeah, absolute pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you so much for having us.
Definitely honored to be here.
Yep, thank you for having us, man. It's an honor to be here. Shout out to Australia. You know,
absolutely.
I got nothing but you guys there. I hopefully am praying you guys fucking really make a staple for us, and we can, you know what I'm saying, potentially come out there and do a show, man. I would love to, you know what I'm saying, perform for you guys and show you what we're really capable of, man. I appreciate you having us. Thanks again, man, for sure.
Absolutely.
Well, do you guys have bucket list locations of where you want to go and like tour and see?
Absolutely.
Hell yeah.
The whole world. If I don't hit every continent, I feel like I failed.
Yeah. We actually talk about that all the time. So we always said, bucket list places to perform actually is Australia,
Germany.
That was like number 4 on our list, but you reaching out to us makes us like, hey, go to Springfield, that's to the top. But Australia was one of them. London, Africa, and South America, somewhere like Brazil or something like that. We would love to.
Germany, a bunch of places.
Europe. Those are like top pinnacles for us. So like I said, like Twin said, we our goals is to touch and grace every continent and display our talent and our capabilities. And I think that
we can set up a show in Antarctica. I'll do it too.
Literally, I was thinking about that. I was like, oh, I wonder if you guys could do a show in Antarctica.
Just for shits and giggles, that'd be fire. I'm like,
hey, in the middle of summertime and freeze the summer.
All right, here's the deal. If you guys go have an Antarctica show, you gotta get me out there. I'd love to.
We gonna petition the government, like, let us do it. Let us do it, please.
Are there any artists who've done a show down there? Like literally,
No, I don't. I've never seen it. That's why I'm like, I would do it in a heartbeat. So let me set up. Tell everybody showing up, bundle up. It's gonna be cold.
At least you don't need ice in your drinks.
Just hold it up in the air.
That's it. That hot cocoa show. That's okay.
Hot cocoa. Maybe straight hot drinks.
Yeah, all hot drinks.
Yeah, just hot toddies or Irish coffees. That's what you're gonna have to. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fact.
All of it.
Yeah.
We're all probably blasted drunk with beer too, so you don't feel nothing.
Nothing to it all.
Yeah.
Well, I look forward to you both announcing your Antarctica tour. And bringing that to the mainstream, getting tickets. But hey,
absolutely,
that sounds like a great sales opportunity as far as I'm concerned. I'm like, I think every artist is looking at how can they do something new, how can they reinvent it, and obviously hip hop especially is the most popular genre worldwide. Everyone is doing it. I mean, it feels like there's an artist popping out of the ground literally every single day, just saying that they're up and they're ready to compete. But how does that feel for you both? Obviously, you've been doing this for quite a while. You've been seeing it for quite a while. How is the overall spectrum of hip hop, especially when there's just like new artist after new artist coming through?
Yeah, I mean, I'll start by saying that's a great question. I think how we feel and what our goals are, despite all of the traffic that comes through the hip hop scene and a lot of brand new artists and all that stuff like that. Our main goal is to pretty much not sound like anybody else, because if you notice a lot of hip hop artists, they try to, follow a wave. They gravitate to a sound that's in the right now, and they're not really focusing too much on themselves particularly. They're trying to differentiate themselves in a sound that's oversaturated right now. And one thing that me and Twin we really harp on is making sure that we don't sound like nobody else. We're trying to create a new trend, create a new sound, create a new energy, a new focus, a new topics, you know. So
push the boundaries.
That's what we're getting at.
Yeah, and definitely push the boundaries. I mean, it's a game where, you know, everybody feels as though they can do it. And I've seen a lot of people do it and find their niche in another avenue or aspect of it. Some people start off rapping and then become engineers or DJs or, you know, whatever the case may be. It's really about like finding your passion. Like me and Twin, we are passionate about this. So like we're very intricate with everything that we do. That's the reason why, you know, our track titles tell us like is a curtain order. Like you can read it like a spoken word. You know, that it was just like that with the track titles and the album names. They go in order. So it's like, hey, we're giving people a new reason to, you know, like a track list, like, you know, and, you know, just doing something that's nobody else has done is like the biggest motivating factor. And like, you know, looking at the landscape that sets us so far apart, nobody can copy that idea. Because it'll just come right back to us. Because they'll be like, "Whoa, they did that from the beginning." Timestamp.
Exactly. And that's kind of like the biggest motivating factor for us to make sure that even in an oversaturated market with a bunch, like you said, like we said, a bunch of new artists, a bunch of new gimmicks, a bunch of new schemes, a bunch of new sounds. We just want to make sure that we don't sound like nobody else, and we want to make sure we differentiate ourselves between the oversaturation of trying to sound like the next big artist. We're trying to sound like us, and we're only doing us. So that's the biggest thing.
Facts.
So would you say that is probably the biggest mistake artists make right now? Is instead of finding their sound, they're finding other artists and they're just trying to emulate their sound?
Yes, that's the biggest problem. Like you hear like you'll hear, or like the expectations is there. Like it's one thing to say I'm rapping, right? But then you got 50 songs that sound the same because everybody's chasing that one hot record that has social media going fire, going crazy right now. And they're like, oh, I'm gonna make something really similar so that, you know, I can ride that wave. And they're not really trying to do it for the love, the passion of like pinning a song from scratch with an idea that you came up with and, you know, brought to life. Instead, it's just like, oh, now I heard that, I can do that. Because not everybody's a writer anymore. Like, you know, there's not many writers out there, you know, and it's like coming across like people who actually write that have like something of substance is very rare to come by. That's why a lot of like, you know, mainstream artists, they have like a team of writers, you know.
Yeah.
It's like
we harp on not having a team of writers. It's just me and him.
That's it. And all we do is compete with each other every day.
And then 90%, 95% of it is us competing with each other. Like, I'm going to say the hottest bar, or I'm going to say the hottest verse, or I'm going to come up with a doper scheme on my verse than your scheme of your verse. And we compete with each other that way. So as far as like, to answer your question, as far as like the biggest mistake, I wouldn't say necessarily yes. I would say yes and no. It can be a big mistake if your whole goal and motivation is to make something that's toxic or make you money right now. If you're trying to make money right now, I get it. It makes complete sense. Just jump on the wave that's on the wave right now. Make something that's catchy and hot that fits the now, and then, you know, get your money. I'm never gonna stop another artist from getting his money. Go for it. You know, that's not our biggest motivation or our thing. We're like I said, we're just trying to make sure that we're completely different and make sure we sound different and our energy is different. Our concepts, the creativity behind things are completely different. And I think that's what it is. I mean, a lot of artists, they just want to make a quick buck. They want to get out of their struggling situation, or whether that be, you know, the poverty or whatever the case is, you know, with their living situations or their money situations, and they're just trying to impress the next man. And that's not what we're motivated by. We're not motivated by impressing anybody. We just want to make sure that the only thing we want to impress you is the bars, the creativity, the songs, the concept, the delivery, the flow, you know, we want to captivate people that way, and not so much on, oh, I want to sound like Lil Baby, or I want to sound like the Baby, or I want to sound like Sexy Red, or whatever the case is. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to make sure we don't sound like nobody, and you could easily say, yep, that's the Twins, and I like them guys for doing just that.
Hey, Twin, turn your camera sideways, by the way.
Sideways was, oh, my bad. I'm just fix it.
Much better.
Oh, there we go.
Much better. Bet.
Yeah. And just scoot back.
Yeah. I feel like, I mean, it's interesting. You mentioned, writing, and I feel like there is a hot trend for people to just go in the booth and not write and just punch in and just figure it out, right? They're just like, they've seen the wave of people like Jay-Z, Lil Wayne, and then they're just like, oh, if they're not doing it, then I don't want to write, and I'm just going to take. And to me, this is obviously not as an artist, but to me, they come and they take the easy way out where you just improvise. You don't actually have to critically analyze your bars, and then you do some magic work in the back end and you rearrange it to make it sound good. Like, do you think that's, to me, that hurts hip hop? I think that takes away from the craft of lyricism, of constructing bars, storytelling, everything that we grew up on as hip hop fans.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
you got to think about that. You got to think about that era. Like, there was a whole era of like pen to pad and bringing the best lines that you created like over time, as opposed to now. It's like, I'm just gonna say whatever on my mind because everybody wants to be the next Lil Wayne. Everybody wants to be the next Jay-Z. Everybody's thoroughly impressed with the fact that they don't have to, put pen to pad. They can just go into the booth and just create something on the spot. And they want to compare themselves to being that great. But, there's nothing wrong with writing, man. Like, I always tell people, I am a writer. I can write for myself. I can write for others, but nobody can write for me. You know what I mean? Like, that's just like that feeling of euphoria in regards to, like, constructing a song based off of a concept that I created. And I get to really be meticulous in regards to what I say, how I say it, what's my overall message and stuff like that. And I get to like put, like, when fans appreciate and accept the fact that, we're not simple writers, we're complex. You can't just listen to my song one time and think you got everything that I said or the schemes that I put in there. I put a lot of Easter eggs in there because, I'm a Marvel fan, so I'm big on Easter eggs. So like I put Easter eggs in the track titles. I put Easter eggs in the songs. I put it's like I'm giving you art to digest. And I pride myself on that. Well, we pride ourselves on that.
Yeah, and just to piggyback off that, I completely agree. I mean, I don't take anything away from artists that are super talented, because there are some super talented guys out there that don't have to put pen and pad and can just go into the booth and create something right there on the spot. But like me and Twin said, like, we've been writing since we were 9 years old, formulating how to foot bars with words and terminology, and then we grew older and understood poetry and similes and metaphors and double entendres and haikus and stuff like that. So we interpret that, and we interpret that and we incorporate that into all of our written content. So we try to be creative within that same element of hip hop. And I feel like it's not a bad thing that people want to do that, but I just feel like it takes away from you actually sitting down and saying this was fire, because I even surprise myself sometimes with some of the concepts that we come up with, and I even come up with when I just sit down and write it, because it's easy for me to be honest with you. I found like it's like what you said, it's the easy way out. Like, you can I could easily go in the booth and just go off the top of my head and come up with a crazy concept and say, hey, keep this, take that out, let me punch in here and do that. We could do that all day, but I feel like does that really create a creative intellect? Does that really create a message, or is that just you just saying how you feel or just saying whatever? But hip hop is all about a expression. It's all about what they say, creative expression. But I feel like for an artist to actually sit down, take their time to really craft something together, I think that's what's really gonna propel a lot of artists. Because in my opinion, for example, let's talk about art. When you talk about Picasso, or you talk about Leonardo da Vinci, where he took years and months to come up with something that's going to captivate and be super creative with his audience or whoever was introduced to his work. And then what happens when he comes out there after 6 months of sitting down and writing something and coming up with something that's super creative that nobody's ever seen before? Everybody's going to say, "Whoa, didn't expect that. That's incredible." And I think that's the approach that me and Twin want to go with. We take our time to come up with something, and when people actually listen to us and consume our music, they're gonna say, "Whoa, I didn't know that was crazy. I didn't know it was that deep." And and that's what we kind of fuel ourselves off of.
Right. Deeper messages, man. Like let people let's really focus on the art of hip hop. Like, not let that die.
Exactly.
Well, I feel like you should punch in if you're good. You know what I mean? Like, Jay-Z has still amazing bars. So I'm like, well, it hasn't hurt his art. Lil Wayne has obviously shown that he can do it as well. He's got amazing bars. But if you can't write, if you can't come up with amazing bars off the top, then you probably should start writing down. And for me personally, I'm like, there is something different about writing it and seeing the word and seeing the construction of the word. And then like when you've got sentences, you're like, I can see how this construction matches this construction. And you can almost start to see this unlocking of like a jigsaw puzzle of how different words can mesh together, how different rhyme schemes can work together, how internal rhyme schemes work. And there's no way you can look at that if you're just doing it off the top. You just don't have the capacity to really do it unless you've been doing it for like 20 years, a decade.
Right, exactly. I mean, think about it. I mean, for even with somebody as talented as Lil Wayne, Lil Wayne, he didn't start off doing it that way. And I'm 100% sure Jay-Z didn't start off doing it that way. They started off with pen to pad, pen to paper, and pushing it that way. And then they created a living out of it, and that's all they had to focus on. I'm pretty sure if me and Twin made a living out of this, and that was all we had to do every single day to make sure we feed our family, I'm pretty sure I probably would stop doing pen to pad too, because I would start like coming up with, because there's like, for example, I remember one of the last freestyle sessions that me Twin and my brother, my older brother had, and we sat down and excuse me. I said the craziest bar, and everybody was like, "Oh, that was crazy!" And mind you, can I tell you what that bar was right now? No, I can't. But I promise you this much: it was a crazy enough bar for them people like, "Yo, that was crazy." That was, But I didn't, I was just going off the top of my head. If you don't have the recording session until you lose a lot of substance, you lose a lot of stuff. But if you actually was sitting down and writing something and that was crazy, you can actually go back to it and say, oh, that's what I said. That's crazy to me. Let me, and then we feed off of that and keep going and stuff like that. So, like I said, I mean, everybody starts off with pen to pad. I think if you, as a brand new artist or a brand new artist out there, if you are just running away from the pen to pad, I think that's the wrong angle. I think you should focus on the pen and pad first to make sure you master your craft. And then once you deliver enough stuff with pen to pad and you feel like you can jump off the pen and pad and go all off memory, then hey, I salute to you,
Facts.
Yeah. And it's called rap. It's rhythm and poetry. If you don't have poetry, then you're not really rapping. You know what I mean? Like it's weird that it's literally in the name. Like you need to have poetry. If there's no poetry, you're doing something completely different. It's not actually rap.
Exactly.
And just because you said that, I'm actually working on releasing a book of poems. I'm gonna have it published.
Yeah, I think you got like what? I think you got like 120 or something like that, 130?
About 150. I'm waiting until I get about 200, and I'm gonna pick and choose the 100 that I want to publish.
Which ones to go with? Yeah.
Damn. Is there like, how do you come up with your poetry? Is it just through your life, or do you have a theme that you're going for? Like, what's the motivating factor there?
I have the curse of a writer, man. Like for whatever reason, it just things like concepts, schemes, things, and topics just come to me. And I can't turn it off. It's just like Lil Wayne said, you just can't stop rhyming, or you can't stop, coming up with something to expand on it. So it comes from a variety of different places. It can come from, some experience that I've been through, a concept that I want to talk about, a thought process that I had going on a specific subject. Controversial subjects. It could be anything, it could be historical references. It could be something that I read that I was, that I was like, oh, I like that. I like where that process of that thought came from. I like that. And then I'm like, I might expand on that idea. It's kind of like that.
Yeah, that's cool. That's like, I think artists now are very much more than just musicians. Like
Absolutely.
that's what we're seeing is like more and more, especially hip hop artists, are finding their art in different ways. I've spoken to people who paint and who draw, and like obviously doing poetry. And for a lot of them, I mean, a couple of people I've spoken to, that was the entryway to hip hop. was like working on poetry in school and just like writing, and then realizing that you can craft sentences in a particular way, and then realizing that, hey, this is kind of what I love to do.
Yeah, I've pressed a couple of ladies already with my this one poem that I have. It's called "Doesn't Matter the Direction," and I wrote it so that you can read it from top to bottom and from bottom to top.
That's cool.
Yeah, so like oh, that, like instantly they go, yo, you're a writer, right? I'm like, yeah, there's nothing that I can't do with a pen. I probably should.
I might have to,
because to be honest with you, he's the one that got me back into hip hop. Because I don't know if you know a little bit. I think we try to promote our origin story, especially with this run that we're having right now. I got to give all the credit to my twin brother, because he knows, coming from a place that we came from, we grew up in Brooklyn. We've been writing since we were 9. We both joined the Army, and we literally kind of grew apart a little bit. He kind of, separated himself doing his own thing with his family. I've been doing my own thing with my family. And when I finally got out the service and he got out the service, he was like, hey, man, come back. And I finally came back, and he was like, hey, man, like, let's go full-fledged into this. And I was super against it. I was super against it. It was like one of them, like, for what? Like, why? I don't have anything to prove to anybody or whatever case is. But he was like, nah, man, like, we're super talented. Like, hey, how about we just throw something out there and see if people like it? And everybody captivated to it and loved it. And the feedback that I got was like, all right, bro, let's continue it. And the biggest pitch that I'm trying to make it short, but the biggest pitch that I had was, let's do something that nobody's ever done before. And I got to give credit to my brother. He came up with the concept of what our song titles, of telling a spoken word story from beginning to end. Every song that we ever released, every album that we ever released, all the track titles in sequence tell us a spoken word story. And I was captivated by that. I was like, I'm all for it. I think it's dope, especially if we can continue it and build on it and keep going. And I promised them 100 records. So I said, I'll give you 100 records. I help you write 100 records, and we'll put it out there for the world to consume, and we'll reevaluate it at that point. So I'm just happy for this journey. I'm happy to obtain the insight and the creativity and the feedback that we've received so far from it. It speaks volumes to me, and it keeps me motivated to keep going.
Right.
Let me ask you, what were you going to do instead? Let's say he doesn't come back to you. Let's say he doesn't say, this is what we're going to do. Like, what were you going to do? What was the plan, and what was making you consider, or honestly just be against going down this journey?
Okay. So, as my twin knows, we are very successful outside of hip hop. We make a good living with our day jobs. I don't really want to speak too much on that, because I like my personal life. But my personal life, I have a great career. I have a great job. I have a wife. I have kids. So I was more focused on just taking care of that element and expanding on that specifically, and not deviating from that. So this was more, hip hop was, for me, was more of a creative outlet that I can display my creativity and my passion. Because to be honest with you, if hip hop was my full-time job, I would absolutely love it, and this would be it's my dream job, put it that way. But if I wasn't doing hip hop, I would be pretty much just taking care of my wife, my kids, my family, and expanding on the lifestyle that I have now. I done bought a house. I sold a house. I'm trying to buy more property. I'll probably be some guy that's doing real estate, with multiple properties, and accumulating wealth that way, and teaching everybody that's around me and that are close to me how to do it, and how to progress that way and build wealth that way. So to answer your question, that's pretty much what I would be pretty much doing.
Yeah, I mean, we're like Twin said, like we're very successful outside of hip hop, and because we love hip hop and it was our first love, our first passion, our first everything. I never wanted to forsake her, if that makes sense. So I was doing my best to tug at my brother's heartstrings, like, hey, man, we got all this, we got all these records just sitting there, bro. What are we gonna do with it? He's like,
yeah, he's like loyalty, man. Be loyal, loyalty.
It's like,
You know, to the cause.
I was like, in my mind, I was like, bro, you're the greatest living room rapper that ever lived.
he knew that line poked at me a little bit.
Yeah, he was like, how dare you?
I was like, all right, okay now.
Nothing like your brother that knows exactly how to get, just rub you up the wrong way. I've got 2 younger brothers, and they know exactly what to say to piss me off.
Yeah, so that's what he did. He put that fire in my back. I was like, all right, fuck that. I ain't gonna be a living room rapper no more. So that kind of propelled, the situation we got going on right now. So
yeah, and we love it, man. This has been a great journey so far. I'm like, we got to hit the ground running. I love it because like we're just a lot of people are starting to notice that we're just so much better than anybody that you ever considered a peer. I'm like, don't put me on a record. I'm dog walking anybody. I promise you.
Because like I said, like what Twin said, we're super competitive, and a lot of people that really know us or get to know us, they realize how competitive we are. Because especially if I felt like Twin dog walked me on the track, I'm like, hold on, wait a minute, let me go back and write this. I can't, it's like the competitiveness in me, like I can't let you just dog walk me on this, or I can't let you just trash me on this, or I feel like I didn't give it my all. So, we always come with it every single track, every single concept, every single topic, and we make sure we try to kill it. I mean, think about it. Even what a lot of people don't know, Twin wrote a verse to that Then She Came record. It was like one of the first strip club records we wrote, and one of our hottest records that's out right now. Say again.
Quick backstory on that. So that we asked our castle, like we don't call them fans. We asked our castle, like, yo, look at our catalog and tell us what we're missing. And everybody was like, sex sales, club records, you're missing it. I'm like, all right. I'm like, challenge accepted. Say less.
Yeah. So and then to piggyback, so pretty much like Twin came up with a hook and a verse, and I was like, man, this is fire, but it don't fit. It don't fit. It don't fit the concept. So I was like, all right. So I listened to what he said. He sent me. We always share notes in our phones. So I looked at his note. I said, let me recreate it. I took the last piece of his hook and recreated a whole new hook, and I redid a verse. And his original verse that was on that song, I didn't like it. He asked me straight out, said, yo, bro, like this. I said, nah, bro, that's not it. You can go harder. And I was like, I said, you can go harder than that. Like, I just feel like you didn't go hard enough. And he went back to the drawing board. He wrote it in like 30 minutes. He came back in like 30 minutes, like, I'm done. I said, wow, okay. And then we went to the studio, we laid it down, and I was sitting there like, yo, that's this track. This record is crazy. So that just gotta show you the competitive nature that we have, and something like that. If I feel like it's not up to par, I'm gonna tell him it ain't up to par. Same thing with him. He could be like, nah, bro, you could have did that better, or I don't like that line, that didn't fit, or whatever, and I'll go back. I'll try to do something that's gonna make him go wow.
And I believe that every hip hop artist and every writer needs that person that's gonna tell you that ain't it. That ain't it. Not it. Yeah. We need those people to tell you, like, that's not it. Like, I think a lot of that is missing.
Yeah, I think so too. I think a lot of mainstream artists, if they had that person in their corner, they'd be like, hey, bro, that wasn't my line, that wasn't it. Hey, switch that, or nah, I don't like that. That's trash. Do it like this. Right. I think the game would be a lot different. I think a lot of people would, really take heed to that and take constructive criticism. I mean, I've had people in my comment section talking about, yo, that was trash. And then I had the same person in another comment talking about, that was the greatest thing I've ever heard in my life. So it's like, I just take all criticism. So, okay, you don't like this sound. I'm gonna make sure next time I come out to you or I display something to you, I'm gonna do something that's gonna make you say, oh yeah, that was it. Right. So we kind of combat that, and we use that as fuel.
Right.
Y'all brought up something interesting to me, and I have a corporate career as well. So I don't do this full time, and so
we're in the corporate world too, don't worry.
So, but what's interesting to me though is the parallels of the different careers. And I asked myself this question. I'm sure you guys do the same thing. Is like, at what point would I stop corporate life
Right.
and move into full-time artist? Because at the same time as this continues to grow and get better, so does your other career. Yeah. It continues to grow. And then the money starts to become an amount that you start to turn around and go, well, it's actually life-changing money. And the risk that you ultimately are taking going full-time artist becomes only greater. As you said, you've got families, you've got houses, you've got responsibilities as grown men to still uphold. And then the risk is really there. And so I wonder, like, your mindsets of like, your hope is that you'll be at a point where you can make the choice.
Right. That's the best part.
But even the choice is a scary choice at one stage. And I'm interested to know how you guys think about it, you know, when you approach it ultimately, because at one stage, there will be a time where you can't do both, where one just requires all your attention.
Right.
Yep, I agree.
I would say that we've come into that situation, I think, twice now. But we had to turn down the opportunity only because the numbers weren't right. So it's one thing to be, you know, have all this knowledge and be smart enough with, you know, contracts and, you know, legal language and offers and blah blah blah. But you gotta have a lawyer, and you gotta be like, you know, read the fine print and understand if that's really, you know, good for you in whatever situation that you're in. We're looking forward to a great opportunity. We're very open to, you know, all, you know, opportunities, but we're not going to be foolish about it. And you know, and that scares a lot of people. They're like, wow, we can't just dangle a person in front of their face and think that they're just going to say, yay, yay, kumbaya. Like, you know, it's different. Like, so, to answer your question specifically, like, we're looking forward to that opportunity. And when we do make that opportunity, we've never run from anything. Like, we're Army jumping out of a perfectly good airplane.
You're facts.
At some point, sometimes most times you be like airborne and exit that aircraft.
So and just to jump off that, I agree. That's a great question. I would say the juggling act of between choosing, you know, a profession like this and you know, a corporate profession. I would say I think that's what differentiates. I think that's what really differentiates us. I think I've always been really good at numbers. And until I can absolutely make that jump or that leap and say, all right, I can do this full time based off of this basic, you know, math equation, and say, all right, I can do this. Or is it going to be more lucrative for me to say, no, don't do that and do something else? And I think those decisions happened to me and Twin already, where we've had multiple record offers that came across us, and we didn't entertain them because, like I said, those offers didn't really equate to what we do in our lifestyle. But I mean, let's think about it in a business standpoint, where you have a label that thinks they see the potential you have and they see the money that you can make, but they don't trust that you have the capabilities to do it right now. I think they looking at it from, all right, well, we're going to give you this deal because this is where you're at in your career, but they don't know our personal life. They don't know what we bring to the table outside of that. So them throwing us chump change is not going to make us jump. It's going to be like, okay, bro, I can make that in a year. I'm not worried about that. You know what I mean? Like that's not even entertaining. You know, that's like, oh yeah, throw that in my face now, but it's not, you know, the math, when they say the math ain't mathing, that's kind of what comes with that. And I think those type of hard decisions really come with the right offer. I think if somebody came to us with the right offer, the right numbers that made sense, especially for now, that, you know, especially because I always look at my career. Well, and I'm not sure if Twin does the same thing, but I always look at my career to say, all right, between 1 to 5 years, what can I make? You know, what is my outcome after giving 5 years of my time doing something like this? You know, and how does my family outlook? You know, I kind of just divvy it up that way. And if the same thing, if the music doesn't make sense for 5 years or even 3 years, if 3 years doesn't make sense, then it won't make me jump. So I think that kind of propels that decision in a way. But I think ultimately when it comes down to it, like if had the right
Math is
offer.
right. If the math is right, we
yeah, I'm pretty sure
hip hop is different for us because we'll do it for free.
Yeah,
you know,
like we're
it's
doing it for free right now at this point. Shit,
kind of.
you know what I'm saying? I mean, realistically,
but we are making money from it, twin. Like,
yeah.
But it's not the money that the mainstream guys quote unquote get. But it's great.
Exactly.
It's just not. It just doesn't equate to how much we make outside of that. So until that meets that horizon,
until it balances, we won't make that leap. I think once the balance kind of meets, where it's like, oh yeah, we're making this, but then we're also making this, and it's like, all right, you know what? I think if we actually gave this full time, we'll make a lot more money than this full time. And I think that's what's really going to propel that decision.
100%.
I think at that point you're like, how long can I do both at the same time? Because that's what exactly. I'm like.
It's like that's such great money. Yeah. Like, oh, it's such great money.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it gets to a point where like, all right, your dream job starts making as much money as your other job, but then you're like, man, I'm doubling the amount of money, and then do I really want to get rid of one income stream? Like, I'm killing it at both. So then like the maths, like you have to be like, well, if I could double my time in one and it just becomes this thing, and I recognize it within myself. I'm like, at what point I'd have to be like making close to double. I'm selfish enough to be like, I want to be able to do both as long as I can and succeed for as long as I can.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, what do they always say? They always say, and I pride myself off this one saying that says, take chances and take risks. You learn more from mistakes than anything else. So, I look at it like this. Sometimes you got to be a risk taker. And I think me and Twin have grown to be risk takers. I mean, we jumped out of a perfectly good airplane. So I think the risk taking when it comes into it, I feel like I don't mind taking risks. I don't mind taking chances because guess at the end of the day, we all have to jump out there and put our necks on the line for something, and especially something that we believe in, especially music or whatever the case is. I just feel like once the situation provides itself or presents itself and we feel as though we can definitely captivate this and really propel forward way further than we've propelled before anywhere else, I think that's when we'll take that jump or take that leap. So I think we haven't been presented that wow, oh yeah, that's it factor. So and like I said, my biggest goal that I promised my twin brother was I'm gonna give him 100 records. So hopefully, I'm praying anywhere between that 100 record span is when we'll have to. Because I told him, I said after 100 records, if we're in the same boat, I said, hey, we got to reevaluate things, bro. This is what it is, So
and you know what I'm gonna end up doing? You know what I'm gonna end up doing?
What?
Hey, come on, man! You the greatest liberal rapper ever.
Yeah, so that's pretty much what it is. Yeah, that's facts.
Let me ask you both about your military, because I find personally I've never served, but my grandparents have served in the military, and I always find it interesting the mindset of like people who join, but then also the experience and the mindset after. When you look at your military careers and when you look at the experiences you had, what's the overall review? Do you guys look back on it fondly? What do you feel when you think about it and when you reflect on that journey?
I mean, I've been blown up twice in Afghanistan, so
not as fondly.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of there's a lot of camaraderie there. I do miss the friendships. I even in the military, I was rapping. So it's like, I've met a lot of people all over the world, and especially all over the, United States and stuff like that. And I've met a lot of lifelong friends. So like, but the mindset was like, keep going. Even my other, I have a really good close friend. Shout out to Chavez, and Shay McGee. He turned into a professional boxer. And he's working his way up through the ranks and stuff like that. And we both, he looked at me, was like, man, I salute everything that you're doing, this, that, and the third, man, keep going. We telling each other the same thing. I said, look, man, the bigger you get, then I owe you a rank walkout. So.
Yeah, I would say, to answer your question too, I miss the camaraderie. I miss the relatability, the camaraderie, because, a lot of civilians, they don't really understand the toll that it takes on the family, the mind, the body. But I do miss the camaraderie in lifelong friendships. Like you said, I mean, I still have connections with a lot of guys that I serve with, and we have great relationships even after that. We don't have to talk to each other for 7 months, and guess what? We get up each other in the next 8 months later, and it's like we was never separated. So I do miss that camaraderie. I do miss that connection. But I mean, I look at my career. I've been to war as well. But I look at the overall concept it was a success. Right. Being that the Army served exactly what I wanted it to serve for myself, as a great stepping stone to propel my career, propel my status, to help me gain the knowledge, the connections, the lifelong relationships, the professionalism, and the professionalism and the career driven outlet that helped me propel myself and mold myself into being successful outside of hip hop. I would say it definitely did everything. It did everything I wanted it to do, and I'll do it again tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because people have so many varying perspectives. A lot of people say, I wouldn't do it again. Obviously, you guys look back and you're like, I'm glad I made that choice. I'm glad that I went for it. But, it's always weird to me of like the idea of going and then the reality of being there are two polar different things.
Early on,
it's big difference. It's big difference, especially when that first bomb go off. You be like, "Oh my shit, God, this got real." I'm really out here. I could die right now. Fuck,
So what is that? What is that feeling like? So obviously you had a couple of IEDs go off. All fun. Just chilling, and you're like, but bombs are going off, right?
Yeah.
What is that like? What is that like of like, because at some point the penny drops or the pin drops and you're like, oh, fuck, this shit is real.
It's like organized chaos. Organized chaos. It's like,
organized chaos. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like organized chaos, if that makes sense. It's like, all right, cool. Yeah, there's order to this, but this shit is crazy. It's like, like you be like, when you're in a convoy, you're like, that's a big ass crater. Damn, they really blew up the road. Like, oh shit. It's like, oh shit.
And even from my standpoint, I think my oh shit moment was, I had a realization moment, a life realization moment, because I think what happened for me, my first time getting into contact, with the enemy, I think I realized who people are.
Yeah.
Especially in hostile situations. I realize who I am.
You find out who the cowards are.
You find out who the suckers are, right? You find out, you're not as tough, you're not as tough as I thought you were, and you know what I'm saying? So you kind of get to know who certain people are and who's really about that life and who's not, something like that. So but don't get me wrong. Everybody that I've served with personally, will get down if they need to get down, especially life death situations. But I think, there's a lot of people that portray the tough guy, you know what I'm saying? But they're very much followers when shit gets real. I think that's kind of what I gained out of that, those kind of traumatic experiences, was kind of realizing who people are, and I realized who I am specifically. And a lot of people commend me for even what I've done. I don't really want to get too far into the weeds with that, but a lot of people commend me for what I've done, on numerous occasions, and took charge, and was really aware and conscious and stuff like that.
Seen the mission to the end.
Yeah, I'm one of those guys. I'm like, hey, fuck it. If I die, I'm not going out like no bitch. So that's just me. I can't speak on a lot of other people, but I know me. I ain't going out like no bitch. Man. Fuck it. You know what I'm saying? Fuck it all. That's what I gain out of the situation. But yeah, I'm listening though.
Well, I'm glad you're both still around and that you didn't go out. Like, I think, a lot of the perspective is like, I just don't want to go out. So I'm going to survive this thing, however the hell I need to survive it. But I do agree, you see true character in crisis. Like, you know, when shit goes wrong, and I think you see it not to that level, but just even with your friends or your family, you know, plans fall through or there's booking or like something fucks up and you see who's there to fix the situation and you see who's there who's just like, I can't do anything. I've given up and I need someone to rescue me.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Nobody's
exactly.
I'm gonna get out of this situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Get out of this.
Yeah. That's a fact.
Because even when I got blown up, man, I was knocked out for like I think 10 minutes? And when I got up, I'm racking 250 rounds. Like, give me the drum sack. Next smoke, sir.
Can I just say, you say when I got blown up so casually that it's ridiculous. You're just like, when I got blown up, I was just like, whatever. And I was knocked out for 10 minutes. Everybody else, that's all they would talk about. They would be like, hey, man, I got blown up twice. I got bumped by a car when I went to India, and I've been telling everybody that I'm invincible. Like, it was driving. And so, like, you know, it's interesting. Like, you probably don't even think about it, but the things you both have gone through to be so casually just throwing it out there of like, yeah, that was whatever. And now I'm doing this. And it's just like, as an outsider looking into your story, it is incredible to hear the realities of the things you were going through and the realities of the things you are going through.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the Army.
The Army, I would never quit.
We have a very dark sense of humor.
Yeah.
I'm a fan.
We have a dark sense of humor. I mean, shit. Yeah, we all, especially in the Army, we go through. I mean, all in the military, we go through shit all the time. We have a very dark sense of humor. So
especially because my friend. So mind you, my TC Salt Wash, man. Salute to him, man. Like, he was in both of the vehicles when I got hit. So when I like came to and I racked 50 rounds, he's like, no, chill, wait, the Cowboys coming. Like, fuck them all. he said, he looked at me, he said, man, what did you do up there? I said, bro, I don't know. He said, damn, you kissed the shit out that 50 cal. He said, damn, man, you must have made out with her, man. You know, do you know her name?
Yeah.
Hilarious, man.
Like I said, us military guys, we have a very dark sense of humor, man. So, you know, it is what it is. We don't get phased too much about jokes, man. Like, we love it all.
Well, I'm a fan. I like a dark humor. I think there's this weird thing of like all the trauma that you go through, there's comedy in it. And like, that's the only way to get through it is to laugh about it. Like,
absolutely. You should have heard my story, man. I got a story, but I don't know if we have enough time. But I had a story with that one. I have like a funny ass story because like when for example, like I'm knocked out in the truck and my son Wash is like grabbing me. I'm trying to make this short. He's like grabbing me, trying to like shake me to wake me up because I'm out cold, right? I'm like gone. I'm like in La La Land. So I finally come to, right? And I'm sitting down and he's like, hey man, yo Mitch, you gonna be all right? I'm like, what? He's like, Twin, you gonna be good. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, and I look back at him and said, first of all, why am I on your lap, bro? This is gay. I said, sir, I said, go get your hands off me.
Yeah, buy me dinner first or something.
I'm like, God damn, like, bro, I shouldn't be here, man. Why? That's not your plate, sir. It was funny, man. I have stories for days for that, man. Those are always a cigar story, man. It's funny.
That's awesome. We're gonna have to do another one and just go through your military stories and just everything y'all went.
A bunch, man.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you. Obviously, you both have a sense of humor. Obviously, you both like have fun and like are not scared of joking around. Do you find that transitions well into your music of being able to have fun and like joke and like, you know, say things that the fans are like, wait, did they really say that?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely. We have fun with it all the time.
Yeah.
Like Twin has a record, a whole little secret EP
Yeah.
That he actually written, recorded without me.
Facts.
So I remember I listened to it. I was like, hey, man, this is fine. He's like, nah, man, the last song is controversial. I got to take it off. I said, no, the fuck you don't. I said, no, the fuck you don't. And so I'm actually in the process of writing my version to a couple separate beats or whatever, so we can kind of, drop it as a 2-pack. Yeah. And it's funny because we had a lot of fun with that. I was like, hey, you are out of pocket for this, but I said, if they don't like it, fuck it. Fuck it, but we have a lot of fun with a lot of records. Like even on our last album, we had a little skit on one of the records. We had a skit on, I think, number 7, Vintage. That's what the beat's called.
It's called So Listen.
So Listen, and we had a skit on the back end of that, and I remember we was having so much fun in the studio. The song was done, the session was done, but I remember Twin just said, "Hey man, just come here. I gotta tell y'all a funny ass story." So we went into the booth, and he starts telling this story, and we all bust out laughing like, "That's crazy." That's crazy,
because they kept calling guns dicks now. I said, bro, they gotta stop this nonsense.
Yeah, they gotta stop the guns and the dicks. So I was like, nah, that's crazy.
I said, bro, can you fucking imagine me, you, and Trey sitting down and we see our ops, and I look over, she's dead in the face, and I say, pass me the dick, bro.
Hey, yo.
And that's out of pocket.
Yeah, we was having we had a blast, and I think ultimately, like we said, we're trying to, because most of our songs, most of our catalog, we don't have a lot of skits, and a lot of people have been talking about that, bringing our skits alive, and letting people see our character and letting people see the funny side of us too, because everybody sees us just rapping, but they don't really get to see us, being us, so we're trying to dive more into that now, where we have a couple skits, we have a couple things that we can just let people see who we really are. And that was one funny ass genuine moment, and a lot of people was texting my phones about y'all are fucking hilarious and stuff like that. So we've had a couple people say to us, man, y'all deserve y'all own little podcast and so y'all motherfuckers is fucking entertaining. So we pretty much heard it all. So I mean, I think at the end of the day, we try to bring that creativity and that side of us onto our music as well. So, but yeah, I would say it definitely has an effect on a lot of stuff that we write, a lot of stuff that we done before. Because I remember I said a wild line, like I think what was it back? Cassidy said some wild, crazy stuff, and we made a joke about it. And I remember but it's funny because I've done that before too, but I didn't do it in front of everybody. I did it in front of Twin when I was rapping in my verse and letting him know what he liked. And I remember he was like, "Hey, yo, pause." Like he was like, "Nah, sir, you got to change that." And I'm sitting there trying to defend it, like, "Nah, bro, I didn't mean it like this." He said, "Nah, sir, you got to change that." So, I think little situations like that, we have a lot of fun, especially when we're creating songs and stuff like that. We have a lot of character to it too. So, we just have fun, man. That's at the end of the day. That's all about, having fun, having, having a good job, having a good time creating something, and and trying to make it captivating.
Well, I mean, I feel like that's what fans love. It's like the music is part of it. They want to like you too. They want to feel like, hey, if I met them in the streets, I could go have a drink with them and fit in. Like, I feel like there are lots of artists where you're like, hey, you make good shit, but I feel like if I talk to you, I'd hate my life. Like, I'd be like, this sucks.
Nah, we're not like that. Yeah. We are not like that. I literally just saw an artist today. I was going to get my window tinted, and I saw another artist I had met at a showcase out in Laurel. And I said, "Hey man, how you doing, bro?" He said, "Yeah, what's up, bro?" We was kicking it like we just saw each other yesterday. So we're very approachable, very
I'm very approachable,
very in tune with ourselves. Huh?
Yeah, I said, "Nah, we're very approachable. Like we never
very approachable, very tuned with it." And like I said, hey, drinks. Hey, look, man, you want to get in touch with the Twins, man? Buy me a drink, man. We can talk at the bar. I'm all for it, I'm all.
It's the soldier in us. So like a lot of us have like challenge points and stuff like that. So every time we go to a military bar, we tap it, and somebody's sending drinks down all the time. Yep. So
we have a good time, man. I mean, what's better to get to know somebody over a drink and some liquor?
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Well, that's good for me to know. That's I'll just challenge you both. I'll like, competition, a drink. Here we go. I mean, you
Let's do
know,
it.
the real question is like, obviously Aussies have a reputation as big drinkers.
Oh,
Like
we're gonna find out.
I've heard.
Yeah.
I'm up for the challenge, man. I ain't
It sound like shot time. That's what it sound like. It sound like shot time. Is it shot time yet?
Well,
I ain't scared.
It's 10 a.m. in the morning for me.
I'm for a glass right now, sir.
I mean, the good thing is it's your evening. For me, it's 10 in the morning. It is very early for me to start doing shots.
I see what's going. I see what's going. I get it.
Yeah.
I still ain't scared though. Hey, let's reverse it. You get your evening, 10 o'clock in the morning for me. I'll take a shot with you. What's up, man?
All right. Do you know what we should do is throughout the day during our corporate jobs, one shot an hour every day, see if our teams notice. I think my team, yeah.
Hey, monsters in the coffee.
There was actually a rumor. There was a teacher I had at high school. She used to have this massive Sprite drink bottles, always filled to the top, and she only took little sips, and she was insane, like genuinely insane. She would yell at kids like out of the window. Like, so I did year 12 history in high school, and so she would literally yell at kids that were making noise outside. She'd tell them to shut the fuck up because it's a year 12 class. But there was a rumor that she had vodka in that bottle. And literally whenever we had officials come to the school, my principal was like, you got to go. Like, you got to go. And she was like, she told me once, she was like, Aaron, I'm going to the bar. Don't tell anyone. It was like it was lunchtime. And I was like, okay, I got you.
Yeah, fuck it. I'm all for it. You know what I'm saying? Hey, the Irish coffee is real thing, man.
Hey.
Whatever you got to do to get through the day.
For the Irish man that made that.
Yeah.
The goat, man. You're the goat.
Well, gents, I'm aware of obviously your time, but I only have one more question for you. It's the only question that I plan on the show. It's probably the hardest question I'm going to ask, but
let's do it.
You will both have separate answers, I'm guessing, unless you can like magically have the same one. But if you had to recommend one album that everybody should listen to at least once to get an appreciation of, cannot be your own music, can be any genre of music, what would it be?
It has to be it can't be our own music?
Can't be your music.
Oh, shit.
Wow. Okay, that's a great question. Damn, there's a lot of great fucking damn.
Got one.
I would say that's a great fucking question because I'm torn between two.
Can I say, before you say your answers, can you guess each other's? That's actually what I want to know. Do you think you would be able to guess?
Yes.
I think Twin is gonna guess mine, and I'm gonna say it's a Nas album.
Yep. I already know which one.
You already know which one. I'm gonna say it was written.
Yep.
Was gonna be, if I had to choose one holistic album that was captivating from start to finish, I would say it was written. I was really, 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 really close to saying Get Rich or Die Trying by 50.
Yeah, facts.
I was gonna say that one. But if I had to absolutely say go listen to It Was Written, that's the one, because like I said, I'm a poet at heart.
Right.
I'm very, 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 very strong on concepts, titles, schemes, poetic nature, writing ability. I think It Was Written it have to be my number one album that I would say absolutely go listen to it.
And I'm gonna go because there's so many. I'm gonna say Big Pun, Capital Punishment.
God.
Hey, and I was close though, because I was gonna say either Big Pun, Capital Punishment, or you gonna say something with Outkast.
That is,
or you was gonna say Outkast. It was gonna one of the two.
Outkast was the other one, but I was like, you know what? Something I haven't said before, like absolutely.
Yeah.
Big Pun,
Capital Punishment. Yeah, that was fire.
From start to finish.
I gotta say, you guys really, really made me very happy, because Capital Punishment is I think in the top albums ever made. It is just bars after bars. Like, he's been my number one Big Pun for so long. Like, off one album, it is ridiculous, that project. Like, and they didn't cut out the punches. He's got and his breath control is unreal. I don't know how he has, for a big guy, his sentences are so long and then you hear
Yeah.
him breathe in, and it's gross as fuck. Like where he's like, and you're like, oh, it's gross, but it like adds to the character, and he's just hard. He's just like real tough bars and the metaphors and everything. I'm just like, I cannot agree more.
And I was real close. I was real close. My third would have to be Big L.
Yeah.
Big Picture.
Even
album
Redman's
fucking fire.
So even Redman's Dare is a dark side.
Yeah, like it's like I said, it's so
like, there's
many,
so many,
man.
but I'm like, if I had to pick one, and I'm like, yo, to understand me and what I like what I love the most about hip hop, to answer your question specifically, would have to be Big Pun, Capital Punishment for sure.
Yeah, and I have to say it was written by Nas, because that album had me in whoa.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
and then top five, and then Slim Eminem, man, Eminem.
The Marshall Mathers EP was crazy.
The Marshall Mathers EP was
crazy, bro. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there because there's a lot.
But I was gonna say, I want to say about it was written by Nas. It's not generally considered his best project. Like, I feel like a lot of people don't talk about it that much. You know, they talk about Illmatic, Stillmatic, and you know, now he's coming back with the trilogy of Magic 3, the Magic projects, and then the King's Disease projects. But like, it's interesting because you mentioned it was written, but you know, it probably, I mean, I don't hear it mentioned as much as his other projects. So
technically with me, that album to me, like I said, everybody has their own opinions. Right. Everybody has their own taste on hip hop. But like I said, for me, it was written was a fucking classic.
Yeah, like, it's because of like the content. Like, you know, we're very big on content. So if it's like, you know, from start to finish, if the content is not like, you know, if you can hear that and know which direction where he was mentally, you know, writing wise, you can see where he was feeling, where he was at in different states. Like, there's a lot of different, but people don't really listen to albums like anymore. We're trying to keep that going. like whenever we put a project out, we want people to ingest it like that. So like, we take that much time, and we're that tedious and that, you know,
very tedious
everything that we do. So
very, very tedious.
We grew up with that feeling of, you know, going to the record store, buying the record, putting it in the CD player, and that was the only thing that you heard for like the next whatever, and you were able to really digest it. You know, we're still trying to hold on to that feeling of hip hop and never let that die.
Well, to be fair, albums create generational artists.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what you say. Singles, you die.
Yep.
By the single. Like, no one holds on to legacy if you have a single, because at the end of the day, a 10-track to 15-track project with just killers, 5 stars all over the place is undeniable. It's literally like a piece of art. You spoke about Picasso earlier, but it is like Picasso. It is like, you come in and you're like, I have a vision. It all ties in together. The tracks make sense, going one after another. It's holistic. That's the only way to be a generational artist. That's the only way to have a legacy.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. I agree 100%. Especially with the 2 albums we dropped this year, that was huge for us to make sure that we can, you know, captivate two different styles of rap, because, you know, like the biggest thing is a lot of people don't understand about us, which I would like to end off saying that the album we dropped in January, She Made Heaven Fall, that was like for the now culture, like the rap now, kind of what do we sound like in a today's age, a genre of rap, you know, and then our fucking album that we dropped in July for, you know, and Froze Summer was creating that straight 90s kind of feel of what we would sound like if we was rapping in the 90s, you know, kind of 2 different holistics of albums, and we wanted to make sure we deliver that, you know, successfully, because what a lot of people don't know is we was going to drop it as a 2-pack.
Right. Showing the difference between rap and hip-hop.
The same day, 2-pack, go enjoy it. But we don't have, right now, currently, we don't have the big enough fan base that would enjoy a 2-pack from us. You know what I'm saying? So we're trying to get to that level where we can drop a 2-pack and people will consume it the same way they would consume one album. You know, so that's kind of like another goal that we have that we want to.
Yeah. And the best part about that is the idea between, you know, of the projects, because like all of our, like I said, like our track titles go in order, so do our project titles. started with In Order of Precedence, Everything Changed, When She Came, She Made Heaven Fall, and Froze Summer. And there's another album that we already have done sitting in the tuck. So
yeah, we already have it done. Yeah.
So we're looking forward to it. But like I said, it's just those, those things. And like every project and every album is like its own separate art. So like She Made Heaven Fall, the concept between that was the battle between, hell and heaven. So if you listen to the bars, the Easter eggs in there are like, the like for when I said why the devil think he's smarter than God, almost quit rapping, back on the job, something like that. Like there's always a God reference somewhere in the entire every track on that project.
Yeah, exactly.
And like and Froze Summer was a very that message was for the youth. Like it's a very, it's like we're talking to, like if it was our kid, like, hey,
it's like we're the OGs trying to give game that's not being given on the corner no more. Because I mean, we used to look up to the guys on the corner and used to pitch a game and say, don't do it like this, young blood, do it like that, and that's the way you be successful. But there's no more of that on the corner no more. All the young dudes kind of took over, and it's like, fuck the old guys, we just doing
like no direction anymore. So that's
there's no direction no more. Everybody's kind of just doing what they want to do, and we were kind of like just like, all right, but this album we want to definitely deliver those heartfelt messages that are forsaken. Those little lessons that were given to us, we wanted to give back. So that's what that album kind of really dictated and kind of propelled to do.
Yeah. So like we do that with all of our albums. So like it's like don't we're very layered. So like there's always another layer with us. So well, makes people really appreciate consuming our art.
Well, I appreciate it, and obviously had a lot of fun having you both come through. Appreciate your time. Obviously, the one and only, the duo, the twin Kingz. Awesome work. I'm excited to see. Yeah, I'm excited to see y'all continue release projects and see what else you're doing, because you also had singles come out this year, but obviously the two projects, as we said, She Made Heaven Fall and Froze Summer, they're the ones that people need to be checking out. But gents, is there anything else y'all wanted to plug before we wrap it up?
No, man, I appreciate you for having us. Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you for having us, man. Shout out to Australia. We'd love to come visit, man. Shout us out. Send us the contact, man. Feed the media and say, hey, get these guys out here now. We're all for it. Also, too, we got another single that's gonna come out, I believe next year. I'll follow up with that, but the song is called How You Feel. It's a part of a various artists album, holistic album with a bunch of different various artists and stuff like that. So be on the lookout for that. We'll promote it on our social media as well.
I put a viral moment in that one.
Yeah, Twin put a viral moment in there. I actually put a viral moment in my song, in the same song as well. And I think everybody would really enjoy it. It's a very motivational song, and I think everybody will love it. But that's all I got, man. Shout out to Australia. Thank you for having us, man. For real.
My pleasure.